Greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is Reverend Eliot, your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, coming to you live tonight in the smack dab near the middle of February, which is a month that's near and dear to me because, well, first of all, I have made it my life's mission to stamp out Valentine's Day for married people. That's the point. I mean, I saw on the news the other day, and Lord knows why I was watching the news. I was just in a masochistic mood, but I saw that a whole bunch of people are getting married on Valentine's Day. Now, to me, that's just cheap. These are guys who just don't want to buy a separate gift, or they're just afraid they'll forget their anniversary. So forget that. I mean, if you want to really be esoteric about it, make your wedding day the anniversary of the 13th appearance of J. Fred Muggs on the Today Show, something like that, something that nobody cares about. But the other thing is, I've had I've if I go to a store as an old married man, I have been married. Let's see, gosh, how long have I been married now? Something like 50 odd years. Been married to, several different women, but about 50 years. And the thing is, if I were to go to a store and get the last heart-shaped box of mediocre chocolates for Valentine's Day and present that to someone to whom I'm married, or some guy who isn't married may be coming in to buy it, and I could have ruined his relationship because he's not there to buy a box of chocolates for the special someone in his or her life. Generally, it's a he because it's the man who is the sap enough to be told to do that. And Valentine's Day is the day that we see that the laws of science are not applicable at all, because this is the day that a person can eat a pound and a half of chocolate and gain 17 pounds. Now, you tell me how Isaac Newton accounts for that one, and you'd be ahead of the game here. That's a source of energy we ought to look into. You're gaining here, so we should be working with that to try to maybe power our cars. Just pull up at Hershey, Pennsylvania, and have them pump in some chocolate or something. That might work. Because there's definitely something mysterious going on there with chocolates. So this is. Are you ready for this? Are you ready now? Listen to this now. Here we come. This is show number 400 of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. Now, we were going to do something special for the show. Specifically, I was going to do a video feed with this show, but it didn't work. For some reason, my webcam works fine with everything else on the known universe of computers, but with the system we've got here, which runs through a specific commercial entity, it doesn't work. It just shows you the top of my head. Now, if I'm going to be doing an ad for the Hair Club for Men, that might be interesting, but it's not here. You don't want to just see the top of my scalp for an hour as I talk about tarot cards, because that would be what we call boring. So no. So I tried all kinds of configurations, and it just doesn't function. I can do it elsewhere, but we're not compatible with elsewhere. So maybe by next week we'll get that solved, and I will do a video feed. See, the thing is, I could use the camera in the lid of my laptop here, just above the screen. We've all got them, and then I could use that. But because of the nature of my particular oculary affliction, I need to be pretty close to the screen when I do these things. And what you'd be getting is such an extreme close-up of my face that I look like a deranged serial killer, if not, and just an angry old man. Maybe that was the other alternative. I could have just done that and announced that Reverend Eliot will not be here tonight. In his place, we present an angry old man. But no, we just decided to go with painting the theater of the mind, as radio used to be called. I'm shuffling up the cards now, which, if my a wonderful hookup, my video stuff had worked, you'd see that. what good that does, I have no idea. But whatever. But I'm here, and I'm ready to spend an hour with you reading the cards as we tool down towards Valentine's Day. Now, keep in mind that I have a special sale thing going here because I missed so many shows last year, and I'm trying to miss no shows this year. That's for sure. But I'm not. I'm more or less succeeding. I think I've done more shows than I missed this year, and I will. What's the word? What am I groping for here? I cut the prices in half. Let's put it that way. Let's just be bluntly commercial. My tarot readings off the air for personal tarot readings directly with the reader and the querent, that would be you. I have now slashed that price in half. And I did that as a promotion last year, but I decided to keep it going because it's only fair. You know, you guys tuned in, I believe, 52 weeks in the year, and we're going to do some advanced mathematics now because last year I did only 15 shows. So that leaves more than a dozen shows, right? I'm a product of the New York City school system. Don't hold it against me, okay? The uh, uh, the fact that you tuned in more often than not and heard recordings. That was not my optimal idea for a compelling radio program. I like being live. I like talking with people. I enjoy the audience here. I can't even tell you how immensely you have affected my lives. You know, my lives, my life. I'll tell you what it is. New York is filled with people. You know, if you just walk around New York, I mean, New York is filled with people. New York is filled with famous people. If you just walk around, you're going to see celebrities. One day, I was standing on the corner of 79th Street and Broadway, and there was an elderly man standing next to me, waiting for the light to change to cross the street. And it was Cab Calloway. And if you don't know who that is, shame on you. But it was Cab Calloway. And I almost did that thing that starstruck, well, let's face it, the word would be schmucks do. I almost said to him, "Do you know who you are?" But he saw it coming, and he smiled. I've had some interesting times with famous people on the streets of New York. I've been complimented on my attire by Christopher Walken. I had a wonderful chat with Gene Stapleton because some of you may know this. I wear spats, which is, you can look that up. I forgive you if you don't know what they are because it's short for spatterdashes. Does that help? I don't think so. But I'm one of the few people who outside of the 19th century, wears spats. And her father wore spats, apparently, Miss Jean Stapleton. And she saw me and she almost jumped with joy, and she said, "You remind me of my father," and she brought back so many happy memories. And we stood there and chat, and not once, by the way, did she tell me who she was. You see, a very secure person. I've had two of the nicest celebrity chats I've had in my life have been with Gene Stapleton, and in another setting with Carol O'Connor, who was such a delightful, gentlemanly man, and it was just very nice. I was a star whose name I won't mention. She called the police on me once, claiming that I had phoned in a bomb threat to the Broadway Theater, which, of course, got me chatting with Jack Nicholson. Now, I don't know why she singled me out, but I'm not the bomb threat kind of guy. You know, let's face it. You know me, guys. If I'm going to bomb something, I'm just going to bomb it. I'm not going to tell them. So, no, I didn't do that. And it was, I'd be happy to tell you off the air who that was. But, ooh, boy, that was a weird one. But, you know, that's the way it goes. You know, there's so many famous people here. Well, now it seems, you see, there's a point to the meanderings here. I'm famous in a sense, you know, for having done this show for 14 years. I mean, I get stopped on the street every once in a while by somebody who will say, "You're Reverend Eliot," and then we'll talk. Now that doesn't happen often, and nobody's annoying about it. And of course, it doesn't hurt that I wear a button that says I'm Reverend Eliot. But by the way, if you want these buttons, you've seen my show logo. I know you have because I plaster it everywhere. It's a round button that says I heart free tarot readings and all. If you want those, if you want a few of those, just drop me a line at asktarot@earthlink.net, and I'll be happy to send you a few. No charge because it's advertising. I mean that would be pretty gauche to charge you even shipping and handling to have my buttons. But if you want some, I'll be happy to send them to you. But the thing is, I'm just famous enough that the right people know who I am, meaning you guys, and nobody bothers me. So I can go months and months and months at a time without anybody knowing who I am. And of course, if what good is it going to do me anyway if I pull up to the Russian tea room and there's no table there and I say, "Do you know who I am?" No, of course not. That's not going to help. But I've seen that done so many times by some really pathetically famous people. But I had a great time at the Russian tea room once where, now here, this is really going to date me, but it was in the 90s, though, so it's not that far back. But Skitch Henderson was there, and he was working the room. He was going from table to table like he was the king of the realm. And boy, did he flip out when he saw me, because not only was I wearing spats, but I was wearing a 19th century pince-nez glasses. The kind that the nosy bank examiner always wears in the old movies. They just clip on the tip of your nose, and I had those for years and years and years. I wore those. They don't look as good with an eye patch, though, so I pretty much put that aside. That eye patch gives me a whole other level of fame. We discussed that last week. But see, in the city of New York, you got to have a bit of a gimmick. And I don't know, my gimmick apparently was dressing out of the 19th century. So who knows? I mean, let me put it this way. Um, I don't believe in wearing a bow tie, a gentleman wearing a bow tie with a flat collar. Now, I got that from Damon Runyon. Not that he told me that, it's in one of his books. A bow tie must always be worn with a bat wing collar, and that I do that. I read that and I mentioned it to my wife, and she rolled her eyes and shook her head and said, "Now I'm going to have to go find you bat wing collars, right?" So she knows me too well. So yeah. So if you see a guy, now get a load of this, and I'm working to a point here. A guy walking around with spats, a bat wing collar, pince-nez glasses, and get this, a derby. you know that would have been me. But there was also a deputy police commissioner who dressed that way, and there was a contract out on him, and I'm the only other person in New York who resembled him. So I 86 the outfit toot sweet, folks, when that happened. But his name was Jack Maples. If you find a picture of him, you'll see what I mean. I hope he's still with us, but I don't know. But yeah, he dressed that way, and there were only two of us, and one of them had a contract out on him, and I looked like him. And I even went to a saloon where he was known to frequent, which he was known to frequent, where he was known. So no, there's sometimes the need to be distinct is not worth betting your life. That's about as simple as I can put it. But yeah, I had a little bit of fame, and I do have people come up to me on the street and say to me, "You're somebody. I don't know who you are, but you're somebody." This is. I mean, a urologist once did that to me during the middle of an exam. He said, "You're somebody, aren't you?" So I think it's just the way I carry myself. I have no idea. But what am I supposed to do? I say, "Well, I am a world-renowned tarot card reader," and wait for the applause, right? It would go like this: "I'm a world-renowned." tarot card reader. It would land with a thud. But this is New York, and everybody's got to have a gimmick and be famous. And I hung around with some truly interesting famous people. I may write a book about that one day, except the problem is that I wouldn't be the star of my own book. Get a load of the ego on this guy, right? Oh man. I'm starting to dip into my memories, and I've been meaning to finish a blog post about the worst winter I ever spent in New York at my blog. And what happened is I was once again, for no discernible reason, booted from Facebook. They kept, I was off of Facebook for almost a year because the most I got out of them was they said I was impersonating somebody. And I said, who am I impersonating? And they said, this person named Reverend Eliot. And I said, I am Reverend Eliot. And they didn't believe me. Either that or they just thought it was funny. But I was thrown off of Facebook for impersonating myself. Now you go get a better story than that, right? So time marched on, and the whole thing disbanded, so to speak, and I was allowed back on Facebook for about 2 weeks. And they did it again. They just did it again. They just told me when I tried to log in, your account has been disabled. Now, under the Facebook with Disabilities Act, I should qualify, but no, this is a disability that they do not look kindly upon, and I'm off of Facebook, and now I really just don't care. As I phrase it, I go to my blog, and you'll see it. You'll see at my blog. It says, "I close the iron door on you," and some of you astute old-time movie fans will know where that line is from. But other of you have more important things to do in life than watch John Barrymore scream, "I close the iron door on you," etc. But hey, how do you like that? The world's worst John Barrymore impression. So anyway, here we are going to spend the next hour either with me doing this constantly or reading some tarot cards. What do you say? Shall we read some tarot cards? Yeah, another precinct heard from. Okay, good. So we're going to do that. That's what we're here for. So we're all shuffled up. We're ready to go. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to discuss, but there isn't. I've run out of witty persiflage. So, that's my new stage name, Woody Persiflage, right? How is that? That'll do it. So I am now going to ring our bell, traditional bell, 3 times to declare sacred space. And we're going to pull back the curtain on the magical window to speak with Bree in Lakewood, Washington. Hello, Bree. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Well, hello, Reverend Eliot. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you.
I see you've been waiting quite a while to get through here. I'm glad I got to you.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So what can I look at for you? Let's get down to brass tacks. What do you want to look at? And I am at your service.
Let's just look at whatever you're feeling. Let's look at whatever you're feeling.
You want me to look at a backache? Well,
Are you feeling that too? Me too, man.
Yeah. Well, human beings were not. There are two things human beings were not meant to do. We were not meant, and a very wise physician told me this, but of course I fired him and got a different physician. They're not supposed to. Human beings were never supposed to stand upright the way we do, and we were not. We were supposed to be dead by the time we're 24. So so yeah, you can
Hold
see.
on, is that why I slouch all the time?
Yeah, there you go. So let's see what I have here. I have some interesting cards here for you if you want to take a look at them. They're all good, by the way. What I'm seeing in here in your future is very good. Very good. Speaking of the future, I'm making a little Facebook ad. Facebook, right? Forget Facebook. I'm out of there. I'm going to put this ad on Twitter,
Yeah,
which
we've
is
already we've already been over that, man. You're done with Facebook.
oh yeah. Oh, that's how many times they're going to do this to me. The question is, if the world is going to end in 12 years, why do we look into the future? So I have a nice smirking answer to that. But here I have cards for you that are very good. There's two things that are coming into your life that are new.
Okay,
One is there's a new way of thinking, that your mind is evolving and you're evolving a new way of thinking. Is that correct?
that is 100% correct. Thank you.
Okay. And the other is that there's money coming your way. Just letting you know that
Hell yeah.
there's a strong shot of money coming your way. That's the six of coins. That's a person gleefully handing out money. Now, the two of cups is here. That tells me that something good is going to happen to you in terms of relationships with people. It could either be a new relationship or a relationship that you are in that will be reaching a new level, but something good is going to be coming out of the relationship. The six of cups shows me that you have been influenced by things happening way back in your childhood, in a positive way, though, that you have some happy memories. Is that so?
Not so much. It's more so the sad memories that have lit a fire under my ass
Yeah, well,
to make it positive.
I'm the same way. I mean, if I once made a therapist cry just by describing my childhood, but
Yeah,
it's
me
not.
too.
And I said to her, "It's not supposed to work this way," you know. But that makes us appreciate the few happy moments all the more, as what I see, and I see that
Exactly.
those are still present in your heart and in your mind.
Yep.
There's six of rods here is a person who's going to be extremely successful at whatever she does. Now, this leads to the eight of coins, which is six of rods is about career and work, and the eight of coins is about diligently applying yourself to a new field of endeavor and being rewarded for it. So if you're looking for new work, something is going to come your way and you're going to do very well with it. You know,
I'm
you
going to
will need.
get me a grooming van, sir.
Oh yeah, what is that?
It's a dog grooming business. I am going to get
Oh,
myself
dog
a
grooming.
dog grooming van, and I'm going to drive around and I'm going to groom my dogs.
Excellent, excellent. Don't get me started on dogs, because last week we ended up spending about 27 hours talking to a caller about German shepherds, and yeah, and then
Yeah.
those the smarter the dogs are, the more they love being groomed. So that sounds
Yes.
great. But now, in
Yeah.
terms of starting a business, when the six of coins comes in, which is the one about money, that tends to
Yeah.
mean that you'll find investors. Now, you're going to do all right.
I
You're
already
going to,
know.
you do okay. So the ten of
Yay.
cups,
Thank
the ten,
you.
the ten of cups is here, which is about great emotional well-being and happiness and joy and a happy home, and the nine of cups is here, which is a warning in a sense that people are going to be jealous of you. You're going to be doing so well financially.
Hmm.
So you're headed in the really in the right direction. Now, I'm going to guess that the reason that that card about childhood memories has come up is that your love of dogs goes back to childhood,
Yes,
correct? So there
it
you
does.
go. So
Yep.
so you're taking something from your past and you're bringing it into the future and using that as a strength, which is marvelous. It's just marvelous. I mean, you and I could talk for hours about that, but of course we would lose the audience. But we'd have a good time, you know. But
I don't think that we would lose the audience, dude. I think we are a good time. I don't think we would lose them at all.
oh, good. I
But let
appreciate
me
that
tell you really, really
positive
quickly.
thinking.
My mom
Yeah.
passed away in May,
No,
and
sorry.
my mom had thank you. She was she was the best person in the world. She was the best groomer, and she taught me how to groom. And I've been grooming for 16 years. She was grooming her entire life. She went into labor with me while she was grooming dogs. And
Wow.
yeah, when she passed away, I thought I was going to give up my whole career because I was just so sad. I just felt paralyzed. And then when I snapped out of it and I was like, listen, she would not want this for you. She would want you to build a legacy for your kids and pass it on
Yeah.
and
Well,
just like
and
pull your pants up.
that grief is completely natural. So don't.
Oh
I
my
hope you're not.
gosh.
I hope you're not beating yourself up about that, because it's a completely natural reaction, and eventually we do get ourselves out of it. People ask me a lot of times about that. How long should I grieve? And I say, as long as you need to. The only time it's a problem, because I hate it when people say, "Don't you think you've grieved enough?" No, you grieve as long as
Yeah.
it takes, whatever it takes, and part of you will never stop grieving. But the the thing is that if it starts to hurt your existence, then you may want to seek some help. But until then, no.
Yeah.
So you see, what you did was you let it, you did it right. You let it become not, you let it hurt because it's hurtful, and that's what hurt things do. They
Yeah.
hurt us, and we let it hurt, and we deal with the hurt, and you absorbed it, and it became part of your personality in terms of deciding your direction in life. And you're going to be, according to these cards, you're going to be successful and happy at it. So what more can you ask
Yep.
for,
And
right?
I've definitely, my sadness is definitely my superpower.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
Uh, I, I,
Thank
I,
you for
I,
all that confirmation. I appreciate you.
and I know exactly where that comes from, because I think the one thing that characterized my growing up was adults in the family saying, "You used to be such a happy little child," and I was thinking, "Yeah, well, who do you think did that? Made me what I am now."
Ah,
But
exactly.
I could not wait to grow up. I could not wait. I mean, I was the kid who would put talcum powder in his hair to look like he was going gray, just to experiment with being old. And I'll tell you something. I hear people say how it stinks to be an adult because you have to do adulting and take care of yourself. It's exactly what I'd hoped it would be. I'm in charge to the degree that we can ever really be in charge. I make my own decisions. I make them rationally, and I don't take advice from people who don't know what they're talking about. Like, as I discuss
Listen,
this
I'm still
occasionally,
learning, okay?
always. That's, you see, I can tell that. That
Yeah,
card I had about applying yourself diligently at a job, that is about an apprenticeship in a sense, and that means you're learning, and you become very
yep,
good at
I'm
what you're
definitely
doing.
learning.
And here, there's another card here for you, the sun, which is about health and healing and
Yes.
growth and happiness. Now you're going to take
Oh, yeah.
something that you've loved, and you're going to make a living out of it, and that's where that drives a lot of people nuts, because Alan Watts, the philosopher, said all sensible people make a living doing what they enjoy doing. And
Yep.
I've done
Where the
that for the
joy goes, money flows.
that's what I did most of my life. And people say, well, not everybody can do that. And I said, of course they can. You can't do it all the time. You can't just jump out of childhood into the workplace and say, here's what I want to do. I want to be a Grammy winning, blah, blah. No, it
Yeah,
takes time. And of course, I've had my share of jobs I didn't particularly want to do, but they were fine because I knew that each one was bringing me closer to what I wanted out of life. And
exactly.
by gosh, it worked fine. I was so happy at a job that everybody else loved that the people who ran the company thought I was stealing from them. It's just, why why would I want to be unhappy? You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's where I'm at
it,
too. Everybody thought that I wasn't going to be able to make it, so I can see where some jealousy is definitely going to be there because started from the bottom and I'm going to be up at the
oh,
top.
I was speaking earlier about famous people in New York, and there is a man who was very famous in his field, who was he designed book covers, and he was my downstairs neighbor as a kid growing up, and he was the guy. I'm not going to mention his name only because of what I'm about to say. I don't want to embarrass him, but it was. I ran into him once in a jazz club, and introduced myself to him. And he said, "You're that kid from upstairs? You're little Elliot from upstairs?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "We all thought you were going to end up in the penitentiary." you know,
Oh my
so,
God.
so he said,
Why?
everything is okay for you?" I said, "Yeah. I mean, I'm the press agent for the band here." He said, "You're kidding. No." And he said he couldn't wait to rush home and tell his wife that they were totally wrong about me. you know,
Why did
I
they think
just,
you were going to be in the penitentiary?
I didn't want to ask. You know, I,
You
that
should
that's
have.
I couldn't. I just didn't want to. And he was so happy that I wasn't strapped to the electric chair. So
Well, that's
there you
good. I
go.
don't know, man. What's going on with you?
Hmm?
Were
you
you a
know,
wild child?
not particularly. I just was very what's the word I'm looking for? I was different, shall we say? I mean,
Everybody's a little bit different, but I love that for you. Stay different. I hope you're still different.
when commencement came around from elementary school to junior high school, several people who saw that they were going to be in the same homeroom classes I was burst out crying. I mean, this is something you don't forget, but I find it funny looking back. They just burst out crying. So what can you say? I hear from them once in a while. Sometimes I hear from people from way back in my childhood, and oddly enough, they don't understand that I'm a different person now. In a sense, it surprises them that I'm not the same. Yeah. Now go figure, right?
Yeah,
How
well,
can you be the same from the third grade to senility, right? Practically. Anyway, yeah. So this is
I always say
just
some people's children.
yeah, it's just a one big trip we're on, and let's enjoy the ride because we're riding on a one-way ticket. They say maybe we're not. Maybe there is more to this after we go, but that's
I
that's
definitely think there's more to this after we go.
I'm counting on it because this can't be it.
Exactly.
This can't be it. So let me just say one other thing here. I pulled a couple of cards here for you again, and one is the Ace of Coins, which is the beginning of money coming in. Again, that tells me that this is going to be a successful business. And the other is the Moon, and the Moon is about the subconscious mind. And it means listen to your internal feelings and your internal dialogue and pay attention to your dreams. And I believe you know all that.
I do.
So you're on a good path, and you're going to have a very good year. You're going to you may surprise a few people, you may shock a few people, but you knew all along what you're capable of, and you'll be doing it. I have one last card here, which tells me it's a card that scares people because of bad movies, but it's not a scary card. It's the Death card. That means
It's the death
that
card.
one phase of your life is coming to an end and a new one is beginning.
Yep.
That's very important. That I
I
mean,
love that. I
it's
love
not
it.
it's not about dying because that's in all of our futures. But so
Yeah.
we don't you don't need cards
No,
for
it's
this.
about a new beginning. It's about me
Yes.
shedding my old self into my new self. I'm
Hmm.
excited. I'm living for it.
There
I
you go.
love
And
this.
you've got it, and it's happening, and you're going to do well. You're going to do really, really well, is from what I see here. So keep me posted. I'd love to
Thank
know.
you,
My
Eliot.
email is. You can find me ways to get in touch with me everywhere. But
I
let me know.
will.
Had a great time
I
talking
will.
with you. But then
You as
again,
well. Thank you so much, man.
I'm a dog person myself. So we're a
Me
very
too.
we're
I'm a puppy speaker. I'll tell you what.
yeah yeah. I once brought home a stray German Shepherd. Some evil person dumped that in the street and got rid of it.
Oh
And
no.
I brought it to the 20th Precinct Police Station here on the west side of Manhattan, and the cops were fighting over who gets to take her home. You know, it's because
Did
they'll
she
dump
become
a.
a police dog?
I have no idea what happened because I lost track of it.
Oh, I bet she
I
did.
I try to limit my interactions with the police department. It was always,
You
but
know, I
But
think
not that I
everybody does.
dislike it. Yeah, not that I dislike them, but I get nervous about them. I got so nervous when one of the New York sheriffs walked into a store I was working in, that I just dropped a whole bunch of stuff, and after he identified himself, and then I slipped and I hit my chin on the counter, and I looked at him and I said,
Oh
"I'll
my
bet you
God.
think I bet you think I'm guilty of something." And he looked at me and said, "Yes," you know, which almost killed me.
No.
So,
Oh
so
no.
that's you know, I'm not big with
Well,
authority figures. So
same.
anyway,
But I
enough
reckon
about
you should steer clear then, because your chin is not going to do well next time.
No. So the main message here for you is that you're headed for a really good year of growth and achievement. And oh gosh, here's the judgment card that literally shows rebirth on the card. So there you go, right?
Hell yeah.
So
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you,
I love it.
sir.
My pleasure. Have a
Yes.
great night, because I know you're going to have a great
You
year.
too.
Bye bye now.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
And let's shuffle them up. You see why I like doing this? I like doing this. I mean, just talking to people and hearing the stories and seeing how much we all have in common. Now, I didn't ask who did you vote for. I need to know who you voted for so I can decide if I hate you. That kind of stuff. We don't need that in our lives. We just don't. It's ridiculous. We all have far more in common than we don't, and that's a very poorly constructed sentence, but you get my meaning. I know you do. And I know you do because you're a very enlightened audience. And I'm not saying that to, I think about those old TV shows and what a wonderful audience you're, but you guys are. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to. This is a very positive radio network, the Ask One Radio Network. This is beautiful, positive energy here. Now, if you wanted negative energy, you know where to find it. you know, there are people who get paid millions of dollars to empty their bladder on people, shall we put it politely, which is not quite raining on someone's parade, but it's a little worse than that. And I couldn't do that. I don't know how anybody does that for a living. And they better be very careful, these people, because they become what they pretend to be. And if you want to read a book about that, a novel, which is a very sad book called Mother Night by Kurt Vonnegut Jr., do that. I would implore you not to see the movie, because the whole point of the book, the whole moral of the book, the punchline of the book, they left out of the movie. I guess they figured it was too heavy for people. But yeah, you see, don't be careful who you pretend to be in life, because that's who you're going to be. Okay, that there's no way around that. So don't say, something, they're going to pay me millions of dollars to act like and then you fill in the blank. And then before you know it, that's what people think you are. And when enough people think you are that, you are that. And that's the way it goes. That's all she wrote, baby. I'm in my Kojak mood, right? Melanie in Brenham, Texas is next. Hi, Melanie. You're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Oh, glad to be met. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great.
Beautiful. What can I look at for you?
I'd like to know more about career.
Okay, excellent. Because the card right here at the top after I shuffled them is the Page of Rods. And rods are about career. And the page is about the solid appearance of something in your life. So there may be a new job coming your way, a new career option. Now that's followed by the Page of Swords, which is a new way of thinking is emerging in your life.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
The Five of Rods is here. You're going to enter a competitive field, and you're going to do well. It's this is a card that shows people beating each other with sticks, but it's not a card of violence. It's a card of some struggle, but it's like the usual day-to-day struggle stuff. The Queen. Okay, and here's the two of rods again, which is waiting for something to
Mhm.
bear fruit and results, but it's career. So
Uh-huh.
you asked me about career, and three of the five cards are about career. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
So
In a positive way.
I see
Mhm.
good stuff coming your way. Here's the ace of the page again. Look at that. The page of rods, the page of
Mhm.
swords, the page of coins. The page of coins is about the solid appearance of more money in your life. So you have the
Mm.
appearance of a new job opportunity, the appearance of a new way of thinking, and the appearance of money. Now these are good because the knight with this is the last card in the court suit is the page. The
Mhm.
knight is the
Mhm.
first one, and the knight is theoretical. It's kind of just taking shape, and it may or may not happen. But this is the card, the
Okay.
page of they're the earth cards, and that means it's here, it's happening. So this is going to be a year for you of work, new thoughts
Mhm.
put into action, and money
Mm.
coming out of that. You will have the ability to wipe away all opposition in the stiff competition. You have the patience to wait for things to pay off, and emotionally, you're very stable. I would hope so
Mhm.
anyway, but that's what I see.
I'm
Uh,
trying.
well, yeah, I mean, I don't know that stable is always good. Sometimes it's good to run amok, but I think
Mhm.
overall you're well balanced and you have control of these things. The
Okay.
magician is here. That's a person who has, shall we say, supernatural abilities, spiritual
Mm.
abilities, and can bring those to bear here on the earthly realm. Now, that's again with the pages.
Wow.
The pages are all about these things appearing on the earthly realm, and the magician takes power from above and brings it below to where we are now. So
Wow.
you're a very spiritual person, I see, and you may even have
Yes.
more power than you think you do. But I think you're aware of it, aren't you?
Yeah, well, want me to tell you
Sure.
my change or
Go
so
ahead.
I was in a motorcycle accident a little
Oy,
less than 2 years ago. A truck pulled out in front of me and I lost 40% of my blood and died on the side of the road.
oy,
And
yeesh.
obviously they brought me back.
Yes,
but I did go to heaven, and I feel like that's changed my life in a
I'll
lot of
bet.
ways, and that I'm in a new direction. And I heard you talk about with the previous caller that I hope there's something else out there after this, and there is.
Well, my
So
usual
I'm
glib
here to
answer
tell
when
you.
people ask me, is there life after death? And I always say to them, well, where do you think we are? You know, that's, but
Yeah.
that's just glib. Yes, there's too many things that happen to make me think that this is the end of the road for us. We may not exist the way we are now, but we'll exist. Is how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Woody
fair.
Allen had the funniest line. I think it was in Hannah and her sisters about reincarnation and living our life over again. And he said, "Do you mean I have to sit through the ice capades another time?" No, it's a little more
Yeah,
complex than that. But
it
yeah.
is.
It, hey, listen to this. You've got two great cards here. These two rarely show up together. The magician and the fool. The fool is the beloved of God. If there was anything negative in your reading, it would have showed up. It would have been erased by this card's presence. So
Wow.
you're a person of great spiritual power and insight and understanding, and a little trip like the one you described will do it.
Yeah, it
So,
did. It changed everything. Yeah. Mhm.
I know that as my grandmother many years ago lay in bed dying in the hospital, she was a little
Mhm.
annoyed because nobody was paying attention to her husband, who was sitting there, just sitting there watching her.
Yeah.
Well, her husband had
Yeah.
died in 1925. Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. Yes, I've heard those stories before. I've heard that, and I believe it, especially now since I experienced something like that. Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a story that I have at my website, magic-works.com, which is
Okay.
you can find me relating it, but the short story is for years I ran a newspaper. My wife and I spent a little over 20 years running a newspaper. And there was an
Mhm.
old kind of drunk man at a sleazy dive bar here in Hell's Kitchen that I loved and frequented back when I was drinking in those days. And one day he turned to
Mhm.
me and said, you know, your grandfather is very proud of what you're doing. And I said to him,
Mm.
"Oh yeah, yeah. Which grandfather? My mother's father or my father?" And he said,
Yeah.
the one in Germany who used to be a publisher." Now
Wow.
that blew my mind because not even my wife
Mhm.
knew about this, and I'm not even sure that my sister knew about this. But our grandfather was the publisher of Vogue magazine in Europe,
Wow.
and he said he's proud of what you're doing with your newspaper as a publisher. And then I must have
Mhm.
had that look on my face because the bartender came up to me and said, "Joe just told you something about your family, didn't he?" And I said, "You mean he does this to other people too?" He said, "Yeah." He gets enough
Oh,
to
wow.
drink, and he starts to talk about people's dead ancestors, and he's right on, you know.
Yeah.
So the, these
That's
kind of things,
interesting. Yeah.
we ignore them at our own peril. You know, so
Mhm.
it's very good. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you survived and you're with us, and you're
Me
headed for an
too.
interesting. You're headed for very interesting times, and it's all through your own efforts, and I applaud that. And in fact,
Well,
let's applaud that here. See there. Why
I'll
not, right?
always yeah.
Now
Well,
I get
I
to
was
I
surprised
can
to
write
get
off the gadget. You know, so
I was surprised to be chosen for this, and it kind of like made me think, yes, maybe I do need to share the story and that kind of thing. And then
please
just the
do.
cards that you pulled really, really surprised me. But you want me to tell you right now what happened?
No, you know something.
How it was?
Develop it, and write it down, and we'll see if we can put it someplace. How's that?
Okay, I know what happened already. It was very clear.
Oh, well, you know, it's good to have clarity, that's for sure. But I'm going to see if I can get another call in. I've just a few minutes left.
All right, thank you. That was wonderful. I appreciate it so much.
Oh, I really enjoyed speaking with you. I had a great time. Hope to hear from you again. Bye bye
Thank
now.
you.
And let's go to Kelly right now in Owen Sound, Ontario, in Canada. Hi, you're on with Reverend Eliot, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm okay, thank you.
Well, let's see if we can make that a little better. What can I look at for you in the cards?
Um, my future.
Well, okay, let's see. I see you, and this is going to be happening pretty soon. I see that you're moving away from things in your life that weren't really working for you, and you're moving towards things that are working. Is that correct?
Yes,
You're making these improvements in your life. Well, that's good. And I see that the Eight of Rods tells me it's going to be bringing almost immediate changes. You're doing very well with that. There's now the Ace of Rods is here also. That tells me that there's potential for new job for you, new career, new work, and that's followed by the Page of Coins, which I had earlier, which is a new money stream. So what in the keep an eye out for a new business opportunity, a new job opportunity. You have the Ace of Coins and the Page of Coins. There's a new income stream definitely in your future. There's no two ways about it with cards like that. So I
okay.
have what I have here though is something that you probably are going to really enjoy hearing. The Ten of Swords. It's an ugly looking card, but what it means is the worst is over. That you've been through some very rough times and you're still here. You survived, and you're going to get up and you're going to keep going. And the Ace of Cups is here, which is the beginning of happiness and joy and emotional well being. So, in essence, you went through some rough times lately, and the world has thrown its worst at you, but you're still here. That's showing them, right?
Yeah,
So you know it's difficult when rough times are over. It can be very hard to believe it. but I'm seeing that it's over.
Yeah.
You have the strength card here. That's you're a person of strength to overcome this. But you take a look at that Ten of Swords sometimes on most tarot decks. It's an ugly card that shows a person lying face down in the mud because that person has been hurt and beaten up and messed around with, but has lived and has survived and is not going to throw in the towel. So it's a good sign. Ultimately, I have the Ten of Cups. That's a card of perfected happiness. So very well done. You're going to survive all of this stuff and come out of it fine. Okay.
Okay.
So hang in there, and this show will be at the Ask One Radio archives. Check it out if you start doubting this, because a lot of people hear a good reading and then they're happy, but then they start to doubt it. But you give it a shot. Listen to it again. Here's another: the sun, healing, health, growth, happiness, judgment, a rebirth for you. Yeah, you're headed. Your whole life is going to turn around for the better. And
Okay.
there's nothing more exciting than that. And you've been working on that. You've been making it happen, and it's going to happen. So congratulations. Okay, I've got to run now,
Thank
but
you.
I certainly I love ending on a high note like this because that is a dynamic, wonderful reading. The worst is over. Okay, keep that in mind.
All right. Thank you so much.
My
I appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Bye bye now. So, folks, we've come to the end of show number 400 on Ask One Radio with Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. For those of you new to Magical Window, that could mean you were born sometime in the last 14 years. So that this could be all new to you for all I know, and why not, right? That we are on every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. I had a little technological snag here, or I would have had a very special show for the 400th, but we'll do it maybe for the 401st or 2nd. We'll get there yet. So remember, drop by magic-works.com. MAGICK. I always want to say MOUSE, but MAGICK-works.com. And take a look. I've got over 100 pages there of fascinating magical information, audio, video, movies, all kinds of good stuff there. Free downloads, you name it. You can tool around there and pick up an education in magic. And if you want a book that will change your life, if you want to change your life for the better, go to mojoacademy.org. At mojoacademy.org, there is a book there that will change your life. And that is a promise. So I look forward to seeing you next week. If you haven't had your fill of me yet, you can contact me anytime. My email is asktarot, ASKTAROT, one word, lowercase, asktarot@earthlink.net. And maybe you can have one of those tarot readings with me half off. I do free mini readings for the Ask One Radio audience, and that's you. So collect it. Get a free mini reading. Get a free birth chart, too, from me. Put me to work. Exploit me. Treat me like that. Go ahead. I love it. So just drop me a line at asktarot@earthlink.net or just go to magic-works.com and look at the page there for a free birth chart. So I'll see you again next week. Remember, time flies. It's up to you to be the navigator. Bye-bye now.